Very good evening and welcome to yet another episode of the Vodafone Sports Lounge right here on FBC TV. Before we get started, on your screens right now are the numbers of the winners who have won those rugby league tickets for the Tri-Nations that's going to be played tomorrow at the ANZ Stadium in Suva. The Vodafone Fiji Bati, Australian Kangaroos and PNG Kumals. So definitely congratulations to all of you, and also the winner of the pocket Wi-Fi that we were giving away last week. We're giving it away again this week, so keep on texting VSL to 819. Right, tonight we've got a power pack show right here on the Vodafone Sports Lounge. We've got the coach of the Fiji Airways Drua side in studio with us, and there is Senrusi Seruvakula. We're talking about the success of the Drua so far in the National Rugby Championships. Also, we've got some delayed coverage from the Courts IDC for you coming up. You got the highlights from the A-League that was played round 1 last week. How about Roy Krishna captaining the Wellington Phoenix, the first ever Fijian to lead a team in A-League. Coupled with that, we've got the NRC wrap-up that's coming up later on, and also a little bit of highlights from the Australian School Barbarians and the Fiji Schoolboys that was played last week. Remember, this week we've got live action for you on FBC Plus on Saturday. That's tomorrow at 8:45. Melbourne Victory takes on Melbourne City. That's live. And on Sunday at 8 p.m., it's Roy Krishna's Wellington Phoenix travelling to take on Sydney in Australia. That's also live on FBC Plus. And on the Mitre 10 Cup, 1:30 p.m. North Harbour versus Taranaki on Sunday, right here on FBC TV. So all the best action for you, coupled with the Courts IDC delayed coverage that we've been giving you throughout the week. We'll continue that throughout the weekend. So let's get started, let's get ready, and let's kick it off. Another episode of the Vodafone Sports Lounge right here on FBC TV. As I said, on the Vodafone Sports Lounge tonight, right here on FBC TV, I've got the coach of the Fiji Airways Drua side, Mr. Senrusi Seruvakula. And first of all, I would like to say that if you haven't watched Drua's game so far, next week we're playing in Lautoka and then in Suva. Go out there and watch it, because this bunch of local players, under the guidance of Senrusi and his coaching staff, have been marvelous. And in the Flying Fijians, I expect to see a number of these boys making it. But in the meantime, in Australia's National Rugby Championships, they've been blowing teams out of the water. Sometimes critics jump on board just because of one performance, but you have to understand what this team goes through, what these local boys go through, and they have been doing us proud. And I tell you, just watching them in the 2 games in Brisbane and in Fiji, they've been doing well. Senrusi, thank you very much for joining us tonight on the Vodafone Sports Lounge. First of all, the competition is a long way to go, but congratulations to you and the boys, because you have proven that your local talent is second to none.
Yes, it is. It is. We don't have the resources, but we have the talent. And having us in this competition is really showcase the talent we got back home. And these guys, they believe in themselves from the day we started. We started with a loss to Brisbane, but we had a lot of positive from it. And then we regroup every week, and then we play hard, and we play to the level these Super Rugby players they're playing in. And it's a learning experience so far, and we're still learning. And our objective from the beginning was to not just make the numbers. We want to be on the semi-final and in the final. And I think things are going right now. And these 2 matches are left. It's 2 big matches for us, and then we need to stamp our mark, and we need these 2 wins. We want to really win on these 2 home games.
Coach, one thing that a lot of people would not realize, that this wasn't an overnight thing. You, together with head coach John McKee and other coaches, have been working hard in looking at the players, selecting them, putting them through off-season training at the high-performance centers. So it's been a work in progress, and these boys are now reaping the benefits of what you people put into place maybe a year ago.
Certainly. These guys have been picked from the local competition in the Skipper Cup and the Fairbrother. And then we had an extended squad of 55. And then we trim it down by having their fitness tests. And we did not have a trial. So, and we have those 3 centers, the HPU centers, Nandi, Singatoka, and Suva. So these guys are monitored. When they're monitored, and then we pick the 35. That's like the real squad that we're taking to the NRC. But it's very hard to pick these guys, because there's a lot of talent out there, and some new faces that hasn't made the Warriors, so they are there. And then for the competition, going into the NRC, it's not an easy job. It's managing players week in, week out. and when injury occurs or suspension occurs, and we need to relook at the team and putting in someone who will maintain the combination of the team. So it's really tough, and also for us coaches, we have to work overnight and looking into our game pattern and how we're going to play a game on that week, because there's different game pattern a week, because a lot of other coaches, they'll be doing their review also, looking at us, how we play. So we just have to make them guessing every week what we're going to show on the field.
You've got a couple of Flying Fijians boys, that's fine because they have trained with John and the thing, but majority, about 90% of the players have come out from Skipper Cup and they've gone into an international tournament. I watched them in Brisbane, the first game. I think at the start they were like, we're playing international rugby now. Yeah. But slowly, right up until the last game at the stadium where they hammered the defending champions, it just shows our boys are ready to take on the world. And that's been the question all along. Can the local boys do it? And I think they have proven themselves, Henrusi.
Yes, it is. Our confidence in the local, it goes slowly. And when the momentum is going, and they keep on building the confidence. And some of these guys, the first time on the plane. And some of these guys is first time living Fiji. And it's a new learning experience. And when we have our team meetings, it's always emphasized to them, these are the opportunity we've been waiting for. We just have to grab it with our both hands. So it only comes once. And I've been telling them, you guys, I don't want to see you again in the Drua next year. Exactly. I want you guys to go and have good contracts, and all the agents have been chasing them from day one. And that's good for Fiji. And these guys, like last week, there was some coaches from the Waratah have been looking at some of the players. And that's what we want, for these guys to go out and have good contracts and develop their rugby, and especially put food on the table for their family.
Exactly. Coach, something very interesting you said, even from your playing time, some of you maybe were lucky during your time to get a contract, but most of these local boys, they come from poor villages, they've got a big family. You know, just looking at their family week in, week out, taking the $10, going to the stadium to see their son or grandson play, it's an emotional moment for most of these local boys, as you said, to get a chance to play overseas. But at the same time, play for their vanua and for their family right here at home, and prove it that with maybe only $10 in their pocket, they have got rugby that is part and passion of every young Fijian.
Yes, it is. They believe now that rugby can take them everywhere. Right. For example, the hooker, Ratunation Uma, we were run short of hooker from the start, and then we have to look for a hooker. And then we pick him while planting cassava on that week to come into camp. And then he came into camp, he thought that just to make the numbers. And look at him now. He's on the run on every week. Yeah. And he's just, it's emotion for him. And when the team has been called, and he's there. And he's there now, he's the number one hooker. And we probably see him in the Northern Tour. And that's what challenges them. That someone, a lot of these boys are not well educated, but rugby is in their blood. And that's what the Ndrua is showcasing every week. These are raw talent and no overseas players, but they're playing against Super Rugby players, and it lifted their game every week. And there's a lot of competition amongst the team, and like we matching today, and I asked them how you've been enjoying the couple of days, and they said we just can't wait to come back and train.
And that's something that for you as a coach would be so good to hear, because in the past, local players were always tagged as they don't want to train, they don't like doing hard yards, but these local boys, as you said, they're raring to go. Talking about local boys, John Stewart, your captain, outstanding. Every Australian media mentions him every week. Frank Lomani, a guy from the north, you've given him a chance, through Nate Siri, of course, in club rugby, and then now with the Drua, you've given him a chance, John McKee's given him a chance, he's shining. Then you got likes of Eroni Vasiteri, who's a Flying Fijian, but he puts his body out on the line each week. Yes. And the forwards, some of the forwards, it's just so much good vibes coming out that all these boys will be challenging all these stars in the Flying Fijians team for a spot for the Northern Tour.
Yes, it's just not the Northern Tour. They'll be putting in their brain, alarming in their brain that 2019 World Cup is not going to be easy. So that John McKee is going to pick all the overseas. What is the Ndrua doing is that it's going to make it hard for them. So the position for the Flying Fijians has got to be hard. And we got some players who haven't, who were just left out from sevens, like Samu Sangiwa. Give him another chance, and look at him what he's doing. And then we got Kichoni Talinga, who's been out of rugby for a couple of months, and give him another chance. He was left out our first tour, so his training is to be monitored, and he's been training hard. And then give him 2 games from the bench, and hopefully, always emphasizing, you are not you don't have to be on the bench all the time. I want to see you, the game against the Northern Queensland in Singatoka, to be on the run on. And he said, when I asked him this morning, and said he's ready. And it's good as a coach to look at the guys, and they are eager and very proud to be in the Ndrua team, and they're trying their best and to play in a level that it's a national level, international level, and then lifting and playing against those guys in the Super Rugby. It's really a boast, and it shows that everything can be done in Fiji for the local to represent the Flying Fijians.
Something I was thinking about, Coach, the other day is 2015 when we were at the Rugby World Cup, and you were there as well, learning your trade and learning of the coaches. We saw a very limited number of local boys. Yep. So 2019, I was thinking, just imagine if half of the team was made of these Drua boys, but I don't think so. Most of these Drua boys will be local based by the time 2019 comes along. You spoke about contracts being offered, players being looked after, and we spoke to Australian Rugby Union. They've got some procedure in place now where some Drua players can play for Super Rugby clubs from next season. And they're saying Fijian Rugby is helping Australia Rugby as well right now with the performance of the Drua. Biggest crowd at the stadium for that competition ever in the NRC. So our local boys are not only doing it on the field, but off the field as well. Contracts, Super Rugby franchises looking at them, crowds coming in. So it's all going good according to plan so far.
Yes, it is. And it's lifting the Australian rugby.
Yeah.
We just bring in a different kind of how to play a style of rugby into the competition. And when we are away overseas, even the Australians, they love watching us.
Yes.
They love watching us. As soon after the game, they come and ask a question for the boys, how they're feeling, because straight after the game, the guys on the bench, they do their fitness again. So they haven't seen that been done. And these guys, they know what's ahead in the week, so they just have to take out the pressure and focus to the game. And it's a new learning experience again for them coming into camp. And then we have to monitor them, what they eat every day, and then how we train. And everything is done in the professionalism we're doing in for the Ndrua. We review the game, and we do one-on-one. Always do one-on-one with the players every Tuesday morning, so that mainly to look at how they're performing and how they are performing and how they're enjoying in the team. And they're loving it, and the bond in the team is so close now. And then if someone needs to come into the team, he needs to lift up his standard to be amongst these guys, because these guys are far of their fitness.
Exactly.
Yeah, and today, this morning, we're just having a gym session, and then in the afternoon we'll be doing our feeling. It's like a clarity day. We always put Monday, Tuesday a clarity day, Wednesday is a physical day. And it's all new to them. It's all new to them from their training in the Skipper Cup and from the Fair Brother. So this is another level, and so that when they go out into the professionalism, it's nothing new to them.
So they're already ready for that.
They're already ready for it.
So we're talking to Coach Senrusi Seruvakula, Fiji Airways Drua. Great side so far. And I tell you, you got to, as I said at the start of the show, you got to go and watch these guys play. We'll talk a little bit more with Coach for the Fiji Airways Drua after this break. Welcome back to the Vodafone Sports Lounge right here on FBC TV, talking to Fiji Airways Drua head coach Senrusi Seruvakula. Coach, one thing that you have said on record is a little bit of a problem. Well, first of all, I'd like to clear the Eroni Vasiteri suspension. I still have question marks over it. I won't ask Coach. He's got bigger things to think about in that. But a question mark, how can you nail a player of eye gouging, etc., contact in dire when there's no concrete evidence? But again, Fiji teams are always targeted. But Coach, discipline, apart from those incidents, a little bit giving away penalties, yellow cards, etc., has been a little bit of a concern for you.
We work on that every week. We work on that every week on our discipline in the field. Some of some of the indiscipline it happens with just frustration, or it's just the toughness of the game, and we just have to move emphasizing to them we can't afford indiscipline in this competition,
Right.
especially yellow card or red card, because the game is too quick, it's too fast on the field. Then if someone's out, the other 14, they are the ones going to be suffer. So we just we emphasizing to them is the discipline, and especially these Australian refs, and they will be marking us
Yes.
on those issues. So, but we just have to be careful in every game we go into.
Injuries as well. You've had a couple of injuries that have, and the one that stands out is Padeli Nadembe. What a season he's had, and he was your key player. Started him at fullback in the first one, then moved him to number 10. How's he looking in terms of making a comeback to the Drua in the future?
He's out for the season.
Right.
He's out for the season. It's a very disappointing. So he's doing his rehab, and then probably we'll see him next year. Next year. But the talent's got the kid has got a lot of talent. He's got a lot of talent, and people back in Australia are still asking about him when he's gonna come back. When he's gonna come back. But he's young, and he need to look after his injury, and then there's always a next time. There's always a next time, and probably this year was not his year. Yeah.
Halfback number 9 for the Flying Fijians itself has been a little bit of an issue after the likes of Moji Roluni left. You had Nemia Kenatale come in, you had Nicola. But this year, the 3 local halfbacks, Frank Lomani, Seru Pepele Vularika, and now Seru Davuilati, it seems like the number 9s are coming out of locally. They could don that number 9 jumper for the Rugby World Cup in 2019, the way these young boys are going.
Yes, it is. They compete. There's a lot of competition there. When Seru Vularika is out, we got Frank Lomani. But during the PRC this year, Seru Vularika was the number 1, and Frank Lomani, and then the third halfback is Davuilati and Sakusa Ngavindi from Nandronga. So today Sakusa Ngavindi is marching in because of Frank Lomani would be picked for the Northern Tour, and because the guys playing for going to the Northern Tour, their last game will be next week.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition. Frank Lomani is an academy player, so he's he's learning a lot, and he's gaining experience as he go on, and he's been doing well for us in the Drua. But there's still room for improvement. Then we got Davuilati. Davuilati has been stepping up, giving him a chance to wear the number 9 last week. He really played well for us, and Vularika is still out. We probably have Vularika until the last game in Fiji.
You said you spoke a little bit, and John has said it as well. A couple of his local boys will be going for the end of the tier tour. How many players in general look like losing out before maybe the semis, if you make it?
Probably 6.
6. And that's a big number, coach, because in the past you've had 1 or 2 local players go. But 6, you must be proud with what you and your coaching staff have done to have 6 local players. Most probably make the end of the year tour big test matches.
It is. It is. That's what we wanted as coaches. So these guys follow the pathway from the Warriors to the Ndrua, and to the Ndrua to the Flying Fijian. And some will be disappointed that these guys are out and won't be with us if we make to the semi-finals. But we just have to have what we have, what we got, the numbers, and give another opportunity for other guys to lift up, to come up and play for the Ndrua. If this guy is going to the Northern Tour. And that's how we are, as a coach, we are judged on what we're doing.
Yes.
And performance-wise. So it's better for them to go and experience the test matches on the Northern Tour.
I know Coach John McKee will be naming his squad shortly, but the 6 includes Frank. And would you like to name the other, or you leave it to John to name the team before the revelations come as to who are the 6?
I think I'll just
leave it to head coach. Definitely, I respect that. Definitely. So we're talking Drua here. Definitely, as Coach Seru Vakula has said, a couple of his boys going to the Northern Hemisphere tour. John McKee definitely will be naming that squad shortly. We'll keep you updated. Talk a little bit more about the Drua straight after this break. Welcome back to FBC TV's Vodafone Sports Lounge here tonight, Friday. Remember, we've got a couple of good ones lined up. We've got the NRC Round 6 review and the tries coming up straight after this. But Coach, we've spoken a little bit about that. Super Rugby talks already happening, that with the Drua, the performance. It could be sometime before we see a team in Super Rugby. But a lot of people had some question marks like, he's fielding a team into the Australian rugby competition. Will it be a good thing? We might get a hiding. We're not ready for this competition. But this process started, I think, 2-3 years back when we were playing in that competition, the Pacific Rugby Cup here. We beat Samoa, beat Tonga. So it was becoming a norm. We were beating all these teams, but not progressing. Now with this, it's a great opportunity for Pacific Rugby at its best. I think Tonga and Samoa must be looking and thinking, we wish we had a team there as well.
It is. It is. We just go to another level. We've been playing Samoa and Tonga for many years now.
Exactly.
And like you said, they will be wishing if they one of their team in this competition. But we are very privileged for Australia Rugby Union for allowing us, and it will lift the competition back home for next year, especially because these guys will be playing their guts out for their various provincials, so that they get picked for the NRC. And for us, it's another level. It lifted the game individual as a player, and also as a coaches coaching the NRC team. And it's our first year, and we are doing well in these competitions. From the start, people will think we are just there for the numbers.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's just something that to do after our seasons. But we're starting to prove them wrong. And like I said to the players, this is the door that we've been waiting for so long. This opportunity it's been long out there, and now it's time. And everyone is putting their hands up and doing so in this competition, and it shows where we are now in the table of the competition.
Coach, not only in Australia, these games, the Drua games, are going live through Fox, obviously overseas countries. You go on, just an example, you go on the website, you have Drua stories all over, and these young Fijian boys who have come out from villages, who have come out from their provinces, all of a sudden they are pasted on newspapers, on TVs, all around the world, not only locally. How are they handling all this? Because the limelight is all on these players now.
We always talk about in the meeting how we to control it, and we just have to come down to earth again. This is like a job for us. And it's the first time the player has been contracted, and that's a good thing that what Fiji Rugby and the World Rugby has done to these players. And we go out there to work and then improve along the process. And there are things that will come and try and take away your focus, like the social medias. And we just need to understand that we are here to play rugby, and we are here to make our country proud of us. And then we need also to show the world that local players back home that we can play to this level. And that's what we're doing.
Something that I noticed very well was Nava is there in the part of your setup, your local coaching staff. It's great to see that it's a local team, John Mackie and them helping out, but with the local coaches as well, so that bond between the players and between the coaching staff, as you mentioned, is second to none. How valuable has been the input of the likes of Nava, etc., who have been helping you out in maintaining this team on the top level of NRC every week?
He's been very helpful. He's been very helpful. He's very experienced. And it also gives a lot of the players, they always looking forward to train. They always look at Nava doing the sevens and doing the Flying Fijians. And now we have Nava and we have William Kuhn. So we have the national staff with me. And we have Chris Hickey, who's my technical advisor, who's been with the Super Rugby Waratah for 3 years. And then we have John Mackie coming in and going out. And then it's give them a boast that these people are there, and it's like they are there. It's like in the environment of the Flying Fijians. Right. So it shows them that they've been treated as the same as the Flying Fijians, and it lifted their rugby. They lifted their rugby, and this coaching team management, they've been doing a great job. They've been doing a great job. The physio, the medicals. looking after these guys, giving a report on up to date, and keeping these guys to be fit again for the next game.
The 7 series starts soon, and I had Gareth in the studio some time back. He spoke about looking at the Drua. Some of these players might even be featuring for the Fiji 7 side come the new series that's starting. Any talks already with Gareth on some of the boys?
Yes, it is. Some of them, probably 6 or 7 of them will be making the Fiji 7 straight after the competition, because NRC finishes on the November.
Right.
So he will put these guys straight away into the first leg in Dubai. And he's been after a lot of my players from the beginning.
I know, yeah.
And just be telling you, yes, just be patient with me after this, and he can come to you. And he's been aftering some good players, and he believes that these guys playing 15s, and when they go to 7, they'll be more. They will lift the 7s rugby again the coming season.
I tell you, you're doing a very good job, Coach. So we'll be talking to Senrusi for the last segment straight after this on the Drua itself. A little bit about Coach as well. Believe me, this guy has been working very hard. Was there with him in 2015. He was there with John and them, learning the trick of the trade. He's coached local teams. He's played at the top level. That's what makes the difference, because he's played at that very level and he understands what he's doing. So we'll talk a little bit more about Drua in the final segment of our Vodafone Sports Lounge interview tonight. Welcome back to the Vodafone Sports Lounge, talking to Fiji Airways Drua coach Senrusi Seruvakula tonight. Coach, on a final segment now, I've spoken a lot about the boys, etc. Let's talk about you. The players are learning, the manager, etc. learning, but it's a great learning curve for you as well. And we've always said local coaches in the past didn't have this opportunity. Now you're having this together with the likes of Nadar, etc. But for you personally, great stepping stone each week and proving your worth against some of the best coaches in Australia.
It's massive. It's massive. This is one of the highlights of my coaching career. To be the first NRC coach for our country, and be with and playing against a top team and with top coaches. And some of the coaches we're all doing our level 3, Australian level 3 together. It's a learning experience for me. It's a learning experience for me, especially. It's like a mini Super Rugby competition, and how you manage players, and how you manage your staff, and week in, week out, and how you plan, how you do your planning, and how do you regroup your team if there's a big loss, and how you carry on when you are winning. It's a new stepping stone altogether. It's different from the Warriors.
Yes.
It's totally different from the Warriors, and how we train is different. The way we train for the NRC, and it's encouraging to other local coaches that it's impossible is nothing. We can all come into this level, and when we can be coaching some big teams in overseas.
Right.
It's just a matter of understanding and knowing what you're doing in your team. And then for your team to grow, and not just, and as an individual also, and having the players with the right attitude in the team, and look after your team. It's like it's your family. It's your family, and it's all. That's like I said before. We have a very strong bond in the team, and everyone is very close to each other, and we always have meetings. We always have a lotu, and after that we always are doing our reviews. And these guys, every time we do our reviews, they come with their notebook, and it's just changed. Like, they're not doing that in their provincial.
Right.
Yeah. In the provincial, is the only person doing the talking is the head coach, and sometimes the review are given to the senior players to do it, and if not, they do their units review, the forwards, the backline, and. All this stuff going on. It's a learning for them, and it's a learning also for me as a local coach. And like I said, it's a highlight of my career as a coach, to come up into this level and coaching the NRC, and I'm very privileged to be there.
You mentioned the families, etc., as a team, but obviously your family, because whatever pressure you're under, you go home. If the team has won, everybody is positive and they'll be singing your praises. One loss, and you see all these keyboard warriors, all these armchair coaches all start closing. But definitely family plays a very big role. You go home, you've got your family, the support. How has it been with the family back at home to be there for you when you need it? Because a lot of people would think you're the coach, you are Superman, but at times you need just that family support, isn't it?
Yeah, family's been there for me. I've got 2 sons and a wife. They're always there. When they lose, they are the first one to call me up and try and encourage me. And when out of rugby, always want to be with them.
Right.
Yeah, because when you go back, it's just rugby, and a lot of pressure from going into a match, and a lot of questions from the media, and like we arrive on Sunday, I just need that rest,
Right.
and then marching back into today. And yeah, when we have time, we just spend it with family, and also as players, when they have time, they just need to spend with families. Because when we come back, that's just us and rugby.
Just one thing that I've noticed with the captain, John Stewart, a lot of people wouldn't realize that he's played for Sunwolves in Super Rugby, injury a little bit here and there, limited his appearance. But he is one of the most humble boys that I've seen come out of Fiji Rugby. You know, just talking to the guy. On the field, he's a fierce leader, but he's so humble, and I've just seen that respect around the team culture. That's something it's great to see, that now the local boys command respect for their fellow local. Not a player who's come from overseas, but he's a local leader.
It is. When we started, when we have the big extended squad, and I was watching him, he was taking in control. So that's before I announced the captain. So when the numbers comes down to 35, he was taking control of everything, doing meetings and talking to them, and then I just watching him every day and said, I think he's the one to be my captain. And everyone respected him. Yeah. He always lead from the front. And very disciplined and very humble person, like you said. And I think I've made the right choice of picking him as a captain.
Definitely. And the boys in the team too, Coach, I must tell you, are so humble. After the game, they come meet the fans, etc. Finally tonight, one thing that really made me look up on that afternoon when you played Perth here, the Perth-based team here at the ANZ Stadium, was the crowd. I mean, the Fijians have got behind this team, and we need this support for the next 2 home games, and possibly, fingers crossed, the semi-final and final, which your team will definitely looks like they'll be there. So the crowd support is needed. Win or lose, this team is playing for Fiji. They are the team for the Fiji, country of Fiji, and the Vanua itself.
Yeah, certainly. The crowd, it's been a long time we've seen a crowd like that against Perth Spirit, and it always boasts the players. When we were coming in the bus, and then one of the players said, "Look at the crowd; it's full crowded." And then there was some guys, and John Stewart was saying from the back of the bus, "Body on the line, boys." So that's the attitude they have, and it drives them when they look at crowd coming in and supporting their team. And it's been a long time we are showcasing the style of rugby here in Fiji, how we play, that we go out there and then we enjoy, and then we showcase and express ourselves at the rugby field, and they're doing it in style.
They're definitely doing it in style, Coach. All the best for the remaining games, and I tell you, you guys are doing Fiji proud. Carry that on. You have made Fiji proud, regardless of whatever the results are in the next 4 games. We know that Fiji rugby is in great hands with the likes of you and your players. So definitely, the Fiji Airways Drua, let's get behind them. Let's support the team. 2 more games next week in Lautoka, then here in Suva. Let's get out there, support these boys, because these local boys are our future stars. They have proven it. Coach Seravakula is doing his bit. Us as fans, let's do our bit, get to the grandstand and support these boys. We'll show you a little bit of the NRC Round 6 roundup after this break, and also the top tries. And again, as usual, the Fijian Drua make the tries of the week as well. So stay with us right here on Vodafone Sports Lounge.